The silence is not peace. The silence is the sound of decomposition. You are walking through a graveyard of ambition. Look down at the dust. That dust used to be someone's last best hope. Your mission is not to pity them. Your mission is to autopsy their failure. Forget the canned goods. Forget the batteries. Those are temporary assets. The real currency in a collapse is intelligence. We are here to scavenge documents. We are here to harvest the knowledge of the dead, specifically the knowledge that killed them. Most preppers die because their security plan was a fantasy. They wrote it down. They documented their arrogance. And you, the scavenger, get to read the final draft. This isn't about sentimental artifacts or dusty history books. We are looking for actionable intelligence. We are looking for the maps, the logs, the inventory sheets, the grudges. We are looking for the precise moment their operational security failed. This takes discipline. It requires you to move past the gore and treat the scene like a forensic lab. Don't touch anything until you've mapped the field. They might have died of radiation poisoning. They might have died protecting a stash they documented meticulously. Let's start with the basics of data collection in the rubble. No worries about encryption usually. The dying seldom have the strength for a complex passphrase. Here's the thing about the last survivors. They were often the smartest. They held out the longest because they were detail-oriented. And detail-oriented people write things down. Your primary targets fall into 3 categories of documentation. Category 1, resources. This includes inventory, cache locations, and water purification logs. These documents tell you what they had, and more importantly, what they ran out of. Category 2, threats. Journals detailing specific encounters, names of hostile groups, or notes on local bandit patterns. This is the geopolitical data of the ruined street. Category 3, infrastructure. Hand-drawn maps, notes on broken sewer lines, viable routes for supply runs, or radio frequency logs. This is the framework of the old world's demise. When you approach a dead residence, you must think like a librarian, not a looter. Where does a meticulous person hide their most sensitive data? Not in the safe. Safes are breached and emptied. The data is hidden in plain sight, disguised as junk. Look for the hastily assembled 3-ring binder. Look for the stack of old utility bills. Check the backs of photographs. These are the low-tech data storage solutions of the desperate. Priority 1 always goes to maps and infrastructure documents. Canned food feeds you for a week. A map showing the only functioning aquifer in a 50-mile radius feeds you forever. These documents are often annotated. They show where the roads are blocked, where the bridges were detonated. They show the fatal choke points they plan to use and often the ones that killed them. Pay close attention to power grid notations. If they marked a substation, they were either planning to restore it or hoping to loot the massive copper reserves. Either way, that is a data point for you. Now let's talk about the MacGyver documentation, the prepper's locker. Every survivor worth their salt has a hidden stash. They may have died protecting it, or they may have died far away, unable to reach it. Your goal is not to randomly dig. Your goal is to find their inventory list. These lists are rarely labeled inventory. They might be embedded in a cryptic grocery list or disguised as a financial ledger. Look for the sequence of numbers and letters that don't fit the surrounding text. Asterisk AK-47. Asterisk WH6TOO asterisk. Those are coordinates or cache identifiers. They represent the effort of months, reduced to 4 characters. This is where physics becomes your enemy. Water, moisture, and fire are the great document destroyers. Paper exposed to humidity degrades rapidly. If a journal is waterlogged, you have hours, not days, to copy the data. Digital data is slightly more resilient, but requires immediate power intervention. Prioritize sealed containers. If you find documentation in a plastic tote or a metal ammo can, you treat it like pure uranium. It survived the elements. It's probably crucial. Avoid anything stored in wood or cardboard. Those are sponges for mold and biological contaminants. Thermodynamics tells us that heat accelerates ink degradation. If the building burned, the documents closest to the floor, protected by debris, might be legible. Everything above the waistline is probably carbon. Treat the paper gently, using forceps if possible. We are recovering history, and history is fragile. Moving on to advanced tactics, digital forensics of the dead. Paper is slow. Digital data is a torrent of information. Most survivors carried a phone, a tablet, or a rugged laptop. They are dead, but their hard drives are not. Your priority is accessing the drive, regardless of the device's physical condition. A cracked screen is irrelevant. A burned casing is irrelevant. If the internal platter or flash memory survived the initial collapse, the data is recoverable. Carry a universal hard drive docking station and a few charged power banks. Don't waste time trying to boot the failed laptop. Remove the drive immediately. Your greatest asset here is the sheer volume of GPS metadata and stored communications. Their texts tell you who they trusted. Their photo logs tell you their routes. Their deleted files tell you what scared them most. This is where you find true threat assessment. Look for the Notes app. Everyone uses the Notes app for their deepest paranoia. Names, license plates, locations of threats, or the specific weaknesses of local defenses. This is the high-value target. If you find a password written on paper, prioritize using it on the digital assets immediately. It's a race against the battery decay of the device. Method 4. Psychological warfare via documentation. This is about assessing the emotional state of the deceased, not for pity, but for predictive modeling. Read their journals, not for flowery prose, but for patterns of behavior. Were they paranoid? Did they suffer from resource hoarding mania? Did they document specific feuds with neighbors? That documentation tells you where the booby traps might be, or which neighbors might still be watching the house, waiting to finish the job. A survivor who meticulously documented their rage is a survivor who took action based on that rage. If they wrote, "I will secure the north gate tonight and eliminate intruders," the north gate is potentially wired. Use their documented psychology against the hazards they created. Pay attention to the logistics of eating and drinking in their logs. Did they document symptoms of illness? Did they mention questionable water sources or specific food poisoning events? This gives you a biological warning. If their journal ends abruptly with symptoms of severe dehydration, you know the local cistern is compromised. Do not drink. Do not even sample. Invisible killers are the most common cause of death among the smart survivors. Carbon monoxide is a silent assassin in improvised shelters. If the journal mentions sealing every vent and running a generator, they likely died of CO poisoning. The shelter is compromised. Documentation of infection is also crucial. If they documented a deep wound that turned septic, treat that location as a biohazard zone. They might have contaminated the few remaining medical supplies. Always double bag and isolate any physical document before reading it in your own shelter. Dust and biological remnants are a real threat. Once you have secured the documentation, the real work begins. Data redundancy and verification. Do not rely on one single piece of paper or one functioning hard drive. Digitize everything immediately. Take high-resolution photographs of every legible page, every map annotation. Save it to multiple encrypted drives. This data is heavy in value but must be light to carry. Avoid the collector's mindset. You are not building a library. You are building a real-time intelligence database. Discard anything that is merely historical or sentimental. A love letter provides zero tactical advantage. A ledger showing the location of the militia's last fuel depot provides maximum advantage. Finally, verify the metadata. If the digital documents contain GPS locations, cross-reference them with the paper maps. Survivors lie in their journals to create false trails, but satellites do not lie. If the GPS data points to a different location than the handwritten map, trust the GPS. Their final documented action was often deception. Your primary advantage is that you are learning from lethal mistakes, not making them yourself. You are an archaeologist of collapse. You are not gathering treasures. You are gathering warnings. You are consuming the failed strategies of those who thought they were smarter than the end times. Their foresight, their plans, and their eventual failures are now your ammunition. Execute the plan. Learn the lessons. Act on the verified data. Welcome to the new world. You won.